Welcome to the Vol Bros. My name is Evan. This is my brother Ruston, and we are two Vol Bros who are actually bros in real life. And we are so appreciative of the Ooltewah Club. We are presented by the Ooltewah Club. Absolutely love going over there. Looking forward to getting out there a couple times this week whenever it finally decides to stop raining in East Tennessee, and then playing a little bit of golf. We are also very honored to be the representatives for the University of Tennessee on the Believe Entertainment Network. And so we appreciate Believe for reaching out to us and giving us that opportunity as well. My goodness, we have a ton of stuff to talk about tonight. Obviously, we're going to recap what happened this weekend with Vanderbilt, that whole series. Then we're going to answer the main question tonight, and that is, will Tennessee host a regional? We're no longer talking about will they host a super regional, because that's out of the question. The question now becomes, will they host a regional? And then we're going to look at the Lady Vols' path to the Women's College World Series. We're going to read some reviews, and then we're going to finish our show by talking about an honor that Rick Barnes got this evening, actually. So breaking news there, an award that he just got this evening. So we'll give a shout out to Rick Barnes as well. But let's start with Vanderbilt. Ruston? When the ball goes straight to the opposing team, it's hard to get base hits.
Yep.
What did you take away from what you saw all three games this weekend?
Well, we out-hit them. So that was interesting. I felt like we swung the bat really, really well all weekend. We hit a lot of balls right at people. It's a weird animal to only win 1 out of 3 games, but out-hit your opponent and still leave 22 on base in 3 games. Right now it's just math. Like, at some point the odds have to turn in our favor. I feel for our hitters, because they're taking good swings. They're getting quality at bats. They're driving balls, and I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen so many hard hit balls right at people.
Well, prime example was at the bottom of the 7th when Cannon Peebles hit what looked like it was going to be a 3-run home run. That was last night. So we were over at Ruston's house celebrating Mother's Day with our mom and his family and my family, and we're watching the game last night, and Ruston, me, and one of Ruston's sons were sitting there on the couch. All three of us thought that was it. That was the go-ahead home run, and it just died. Like, it just dove right into that warning track. It
was the same issue as Andrew Fisher the other night. He actually hit it too hard, and it created top spin, and it spun down to the outfielder rather than spinning out and getting out of the stadium. Like I say, I mean, I don't know. Baseball's a weird game. I've talked about it before. I coached my son's team, and Saturday before the torrential downpours hit, we played a really good Knoxville Stars team. We played extremely well and lost 6-3. At one point had bases loaded with 1 out and hit 2 straight line drives to end the inning. Both barreled, both great swings right at people. If those two get through for base hits, we probably win 7-6. So, it's a weird game, and sometimes the ball just doesn't find holes. I think if Tony Vitello was on here right now, he would be saying he can't fault our hitters at all. Like, all you can do is hit the ball hard. If it's at people, it's at people. I think where he would be most frustrated is probably with a few of the pitchers. We gave up 10 free bases this weekend, which in a 3-game series isn't a ton, but it felt like a lot of them were in crucial situations. You're basically talking about a free base every 2 2/3 innings if you got 10 in a weekend. And we struck out 39. So we averaged 13 strikeouts per game. So, it wasn't an issue of pounding the strike zone. I thought at times we actually pounded the strike zone too much. We gave up 2 0-2 home runs this weekend. I one of them was a bad pitch call. One of them was a bad pitch. Catcher was setting up in one location, pitcher threw it right down the middle. So you take those 2 0-2 home runs off the board, and we might actually win all 3 games. So I think if Tony was sitting here right now, he would say he's actually happy with the hitters. He feels like they're taking great swings. He would say that he's very pleased with about half the pitching staff. And the other half, one of 2 things has to happen. And Tony kind of said it after game 2. He made the comment about Marcus Phillips figuring out base runners or he won't be pitching. I think about half the pitching staff right now has some soul searching they need to do and figure out, are they going to be dominant or do they just not need to be in the equation? If we have to shorten the pitching staff and go, okay, these 2 guys are throwing Friday, these 3 guys are throwing Saturday, these 3 guys are throwing Sunday, and just have 8 guys, so be it. But you got to put your best guys out there right now. It's that time of year. There's lots of time to heal up over the next few months. You got to leave it all out there now.
Yeah, I would say the one thing that all nation could be frustrated about or concerned about from this weekend was throwing errors. I mean, just like you said, you can't give up free bases, especially if you're playing a top 10 team. You don't have the luxury of being able to do that and expecting still to win. So that would be the main thing, would be throwing errors. And you got to play clean baseball. I mean, that's the bottom line, especially if you want to win a national championship. And you get to Omaha, you can't have throwing errors during a game. You just can't. So
yeah,
that would be the one thing that they got to clean up.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned about that. They scored 19 runs on the weekend, and 17 of them were earned. So the errors didn't actually hurt us that much. We only had 2 unearned runs in 3 games. So, they didn't come back to haunt. Obviously, they can, especially if they're compounded with some of those walks and hit by pitch. I think, I don't know. I'm a little more gracious about errors because they're on turf, number one. And most people would say, well, yeah, but turf should be clean hops. It is, but it's also a detriment to a lot of fielders because you got to remember, these guys have metal bats. The ball's leaving the bats at exit velocities of anywhere from 95 to 105. It happened during one of the games. Dean Curley hit a rocket right at the second baseman's feet. Should have been a routine out on a grass field. But because it was on turf, it actually accelerated off the turf and got even faster. And I bet it was probably 98 to 100 off the bat. And then once it hit the turf, it actually sped up and it just ate him up. Like he had no chance. That's a lot of what they're dealing with. And, it can throw off your timing, which creates throwing errors. One of the throwing errors was actually 2 of the throwing errors were just bad pickoff moves. So that's fixable.
Taking Coons, yeah.
That's very fixable. But, Dean Curley uncorked one trying to turn a double play faster than he probably needed to. Those don't bother me because he's just being aggressive. He's trying to make a play and it just didn't work. Got to eliminate 0-2 fastballs down the middle. Like that just cannot happen. Frank Anderson, I guarantee you, Frank Anderson lost a lot of sleep this weekend because those, especially when you're the guy calling pitches, those are the ones that drive you absolutely up the wall, where it's like, at no point 0-2 did we ever call fastball down the middle. Like that didn't happen. So how in the world? And they've had board sessions after board sessions after board sessions in classrooms talking about this is where we attack 0-2. If we see this type of swing, we're going here. If we see this type of swing, we're going here. If we see a guy who's, in this spot in the box, we're going here. Like, they have talked that thing to death. Every one of those guys knows what's going to be called. And the answer is never fastball down the middle. So, those are the ones that drive you insane as a pitching coach, because you've talked about it. Like, this is not new. This was not a mental mistake. This was just lack of focus and physical mistake. I'm just going to not control the ball.
And along those lines, kudos to, I think it was the McIlvain kid that was ending the game for Vanderbilt on the mound last night. Cannon Peebles gets up, and dude, he didn't beat around the bush. He challenged Cannon, threw 2 straight fastballs right down the middle after him. And I mean, those are the ones you got to hit if you're Cannon. He swung at him like he should have. He just missed him. And then he chased one, up in the zone, which that was a really tough spot for Cannon, because, I mean, you're like, I can't strike out here. And, he's antsy and he doesn't want to strike out looking for sure. And
that guy's got a real high spin rate. And so the ball actually, if you're the hitter, it looks like it's actually rising. So out of the hand to Cannon, it probably looked like that might be letter high. I probably need to foul that off. And the ball just kept elevating on him. So he had no shot.
So, I mean, kudos to the pitcher, McIlvain kid. I mean, he didn't back down. He went right after him. And the adrenaline of that moment pumped it right past Cannon. But let's see what some folks are saying in the comments, and then we'll answer our question about will they host a regional. Stephen, hey, Stephen, thank you so much, Stephen. Stephen's a new channel member. I appreciate that so much. I met Steve at Publix this past, I think it was Friday night, or maybe Thursday. I can't remember, one of the two. But that's exciting. Thank you so much, Stephen. I appreciate that. We're glad to have you as a channel member. So he joined as an honorary fan member, so you get access to our message board on our website. So I will message you on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning with the how to join. Actually, I'll tell you. If you go to our website, click on login in the top right corner and create an account, it'll let us know that you've requested to join our site. I'll approve you, and we'll get you in on all those message boards. You'll also get, and this is what I'll give to you on YouTube tomorrow, you'll get a one-time 25% off discount code on our website, on our merch store. So just as a reminder to everybody, this is actually the last week. Friday is the last day to get the 25% off discount code on our merch store. You don't have to use it by Friday, but you do have to join our YouTube channel by Friday to get that 25% off discount code. If I were you, I might wait about a week or so to see what the new thing we got dropping in about a week or so, because it's pretty sweet. And then, then you can maybe use that code then. Several people have already used it. If you join at supporter level, honorary fam, or watch party fam, any 3 level, you get the 25% off code for our merch store. If you join as a watch party fan member, you get that code plus just regular 15% off our website all the time. You also get to do some watch parties with us. We will give away a merch item at every one of those. And then also monthly members only meeting, which the first one of those is this upcoming Sunday, the 18th at 8:00 p.m. So we hope if you're a watch party fan member, everybody joins us. I'll post about that tomorrow to let everybody know. But Steve, thank you so much. That's very exciting. I appreciate that so much. We're glad you're with us, buddy. Let's see. And I'm so glad he stopped me in the Publix. That was so cool. He said, Evan, I turned around and he explained to me who he was. That was awesome. So if by some chance you happen to see me or Ruston out somewhere, please stop us and talk to us. I love it. It's so exciting. My kids thought it was the coolest thing in the world. They're like, Dad, somebody noticed you. And I was like, yeah, I know, it was pretty cool. So they loved it. They thought that was so cool. Let's see. Mississippi Vol, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, good Monday evening. That's right. We're on a Monday instead of a Sunday tonight. Jonathan said, hello, Vol Bros and chat family. Another rough weekend for baseball. I'm starting to get slightly worried about their tournament chances. Well, I think that's fair because it's hot and cold here. And I think we can have the same concerns about the Lady Vols. We'll get to them in a minute, too. Tony, welcome, Tony. He said Vanderbilt didn't have trouble scoring runs against us. Scored 17 in the last 2 games. They hit the ball well. I mean, kudos to them. You know, in the top of the 9th inning, dude goes opposite field off Nate Snead. I mean, like they hit the ball well. Robert, welcome, buddy. He said he loved the video of our mom. I appreciate that. She loved doing it. She loved it. Let's see. Mina Lackey said there's another channel member, and so was Robert. Mina Lackey said, great good evening, Vol Bros, and the bestest chat fam in all of the interwebs. That's what I'm talking about. Mina Lackey got a shout out from my mom, from her mom in that video. And she said, happy Mother's Day, Bros mom. Tony said, I love Tony Vitello. Hope he's here many years, but he made some bad coaching decisions this weekend.
The only one I questioned was having Blake Grimmer try to bunt. And I understood why he did it. He was trying to run a safety squeeze to get that run in from third and get the lead. I think he felt like if we could get that run in, that Vanderbilt would not handle the pressure. Like it would force them to start really pressing. I would have liked to have seen him let Grimmer swing. That kid's been just so hot. Yeah, but I understood why he did it. The only other one I kind of questioned, I'm sure it was an analytics decision, was when they pulled Braden Krenzel. Felt like he probably should have stayed out there a little longer. But you could see them in the dugout looking at charts before Tony went to the mound. So I'm sure that was a analytics decision.
My main thing, the worst decision I thought was made this weekend was whoever's running social media for Vol Baseball. After the Vanderbilt, the last game of the series yesterday, they post the final score with a photo of Reese Chapman. I was like, what kind of dumb decision was that? The one game that Reese Chapman was replaced with, he was benched in that game, and they use his photo in the post game score thing. I'm like, what in the world? Somebody wasn't paying attention, and they made a poor decision there.
You know, baseball analytics and baseball numbers, there's a game within the game. And let me show you something, just how close we were to at least winning 2 this weekend and possibly sweeping. In the 2 games we lost, okay, game 2, we gave up 10 runs. 1 of them was unearned, so that's 9 earned runs. So it used to be the analytics said 1 in every 4 free base scores. So hit by pitch, walks, however many, for every 4 you put on, 1 scores. Over the last few years, that number has decreased to 1 in 3. So again, we have 9 earned runs we've given up. We had 6 free bases. Okay, so 1 in 3 scores, so that's 2 runs in those 6 free bases. Take those off the board. Stupid emojis. Take those off the board. Now we're at 7 runs. We also gave up an 0-2 home run. Throw a quality pitch that's not in the zone. All of a sudden, you're at 6 runs. We scored 6 in that game. So all of a sudden, if you do the little things right, and you just take care of the ball and do the little things right, it's 6-6. The game we lost 7-5. 1 earned run or 1 unearned run. So now we're down to 6 runs scored. There were 3 free bases, 1 in every 3 scores. So now we're down to, we eliminate those. Now we're down to 5 runs. We gave up an 0-2 home run. Throw a quality pitch. Now you're down to 4 runs. We win 5-4. So that's how close we are to not only winning 2 games this weekend, but potentially sweeping. And where I don't have a whole lot of concern is, again, we had 30 hits. That's 10 per game. Okay. We hit rockets right at people the whole weekend. That's gonna find holes. Like the math just doesn't math after a while.
That's on top of the 30 hits.
Right. Eventually those swings find holes. Like that's gonna solve itself. If we can take care of the little things in the pitching staff, we win 2 out of 3 this weekend and possibly sweep.
Yeah.
So, I think when they do a deep dive in the analytics and they really look at the numbers, they're going to walk away from this weekend angry, and they should be, but also going, hey, we're a few small tweaks away from being in a really good place right now. And that's what, because their players are starting to press a little bit. Like they're trying to do a little too much. The coaches need to go in and have that conversation Monday and talk about, hey, here's how close we are to being really good. Here's the things we've got to resolve, and we'll turn a corner quickly. And they need to talk to him from that angle so the players calm down and stop pressing and just start doing the things that they are capable of doing and allow their talent to play for itself.
Let's see here. Like you said, I hate this for our guys, but I still believe. I see what you did there. Nice. I like that. That's good. Herb said 2 strike hits killed us. Welcome, Herb. Good to have you. Like you said, seemed like we were swinging at everything. Matt, welcome, buddy. As a channel member, he said, "Where's the home cooking when we need it?"
We chased some fastballs up in the zone. Dalton Bargo's just a free swinger. Like he's just going to swing at everything because that's who he is. But outside of him, we chased a couple of fastballs up in the zone. But again, until you've stood in the box and understood spin rate, it's hard to pick up a fastball, especially upper 90s, and not wonder that might be a strike. And then it just keeps elevating on you and you swing through it. The opportunity to recognize where it is and start your swing is so minuscule. If that thing continues to elevate, you can't hit it. Liam Doyle does that to people all the time.
Jonathan said, I read a stat the other day that the last several defending champs have either missed Omaha or barely made it. I think Mississippi State and Ole Miss, both of them, both missed Omaha the year after. I think there's probably a solid reason for that, though. And I think it might be what we're experiencing this year.
Yeah.
The teams that make it to Omaha have veteran leadership. They're loaded with veteran talent. And then they all go pro or they all graduate. And that's what we saw last year. My goodness, almost our entire lineup is gone. Our whole starting rotation is gone.
And that following year, you have a massive target on your back for the entire season. Yeah. You're going to get everybody's best shot.
So I think that's probably a major contributor to that stat. Rhonda, welcome, Rhonda. Great to have you as a channel member. She said, hello, Vol Bros and chat family. I'm still wearing my orange lenses. Postseason's a new season. You're exactly right.
0-0.
Let's see here. Herb said our pitching on 2 strikes is killing us.
Yep.
Yeah, when you throw fastballs down the middle with 2 strikes, especially 0-2 count, probably not a good plan. Let's see. Rhonda said things were definitely brewing Saturday. That frustration spilled over to Sunday. Yeah, they were mouthing each other all weekend for sure. Steve said, thanks, Mino. Nice to meet you, Evan, and glad to support you guys. Hey, we appreciate you, man. That's awesome. We love it. Thank you for being a channel member. Let's see here. Like you said, best show out there. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Elijah said, what's up, bros? Don't see us hosting. Maybe if we sweep Arkansas with a run rule, but that's not going to happen.
I think so. We talked about this the other night. NCAA baseball selection is different than every other sport. Same for softball. they put a high priority on strength of schedule and RPI. And our strength of schedule and RPI is really good. So I think we absolutely will host. We're not going to host the Supers, but we will. I would be shocked if we don't get a regional. You know, our record against the top 25 is now 11 and 8. So we have a really, really high top 20 or really, really high RPI, really, really high strength of schedule, and we're 11 and 8 against the top 25. Those numbers are all in our favor. And, you know, if it comes down to, say, us and, you know, UC Santa Barbara or somebody like that, we're getting that spot every day of the week because their RPI and strength of schedule just doesn't compare.
So I got a little bit different opinion on that one. So right now we're on the outside looking in. I'm going to pull up the D1 rankings real quick. So right now we're at 17. The top 16 teams host a regional. 15 is Clemson. 16 is West Virginia. 17 is us. 18 is Alabama. 19 is Southern Miss. I think it's probably safe to say that, you know, one of those 5 teams is going to be the 16 seed. If it's Alabama, that hurts us because we lost a series there. So that automatically takes one of those 5 spots. And if Alabama has a good showing this next weekend, which I haven't looked at their schedule, but I'm assuming they're going to be playing Auburn this next weekend. Those are both teams that beat us in series this year. Are they not playing Auburn this weekend?
I don't think so, no. I'll tell you in just a second.
I figured they'd be doing that as like an Iron Bowl series to end the season kind of thing. So when you look at those teams, honestly, I think if we definitely are hosting a super regional, that's totally out of the question. Somehow we got to move up one spot. So that means one of 2 things. Either we have to have a really good showing at Arkansas, or we got to make a deep run in the SEC tournament. If we do one of those 2 things, I do think they would move us ahead of either West Virginia or Clemson. But if we don't win that series at Arkansas, even if we do well in the SEC tournament,
Alabama's in Gainesville this weekend, so they're not winning that series. UCLA and West Virginia, their RPI and strength of schedule is awful. So I don't see those 2 being in the equation either.
I understand. UCLA is currently 14th, Clemson 15th, West Virginia 16th. So they're occupying the last 3 spots right now. If we don't win that series in Arkansas, though, I don't see how they're going to move us up after losing. Unless those other teams lose worse than us at weaker teams. That's the only chance. Now, if we make a really deep run in the SEC tournament, and let's say we win the whole thing, then we'll definitely move up into one of those top spots. We'll probably leapfrog all 3 of them and jump up to number 14 or 13. But we got in my opinion, we got a tough road ahead of us to be able to host a regional. But I'll tell you what I think does help us more than anything. You look at those teams we just mentioned, especially UCLA, West Virginia, and Southern Miss. Of those 3 teams, if it comes down to us or them as that 16th seed, we're getting it because of money. Because Tennessee's fan base and Tennessee's stadium capacity. So if it comes down to, they're debating between Clemson, their fan base is strong. That's not gonna money won't impact that one. But UCLA, West Virginia, or Southern Miss, or Tennessee, one of those four teams gets the last spot, and they're all pretty even. They'll give it to us based on the fact that we're in the SEC and we had a strong strength schedule, but also because our fans are going to pack the place.
UCLA is not in this conversation.
They're number 14 right now.
Yes, because they play an incredibly weak schedule.
I agree.
Their strength of schedule is horrendous, and I just looked it up. Do you know what they are against the top 25?
Probably not great.
1-5.
Yep.
So they're not getting a regional. They're going to get dropped down. They'll be a 2 seed somewhere. They're not going to reward a team for an incredibly weak schedule and playing awful against the only good teams on their schedule.
I hope you're right, because that would be the way it should be.
This isn't
but
basketball.
I've also watched college football for the last however many years, and all that matters is wins and losses.
And it's not that either. Like, they've shown this over and over and over. The teams with the highest strength of schedule and RPI and best record against top 25 are the teams they lean to.
I hope you're right. I'd love for us to at least host a regional, because we're not going to get to host a super regional. So I would love for us to at least get to host a regional. Now, with that being said, let's say that they're the 16th seed. Let's say
I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama were to go down to Florida and win that series. I wouldn't be surprised if they took us and Bama and leapfrogged us over West Virginia and UCLA, because it's apples and oranges. Like, they don't play anybody.
Well, let's say that we make up that one spot and we end up as the 16th seed. So we're hosting a regional. That'd be wonderful. That means that for the super regional, we travel to the number 1 team in the country at that point. Right now, that's LSU. Now, that shouldn't scare Tennessee fans, because we should have won the series at LSU that we handed to them on a silver platter. So that's the thing about this team. They have the ability to beat literally anyone in the country any day of the week, especially if Liam Doyle's on the mound. And then they also have we've seen they've got the propensity to give it away at the same time. So who knows, man? Who knows what's going to happen? Let's see here. Rhonda asked, Volbros, when you getting your mom on here? Me, like you said, bring her on. Me, like you said, your mom can interview Tony Vitale.
Here's the ultimate reason why West Virginia will not host a regional. Want to take a shot at what their record is against the top 25?
No clue.
0-0. They have not played a single team in the top 25. Their strength of schedule is so incredibly weak. They're not even going to be a high 2 seed. They're going to bump them down to a middle 2 seed, because they haven't played anybody.
I hope you're right. That's all I can say. I've just seen. I hope you're right.
Their schedule is Cupcake City. Like, it's like they went around the country and said, how can we find a bunch of nobodies and find a way to fit them all in one calendar? There's nothing on this schedule.
Elijah said, I just don't even know what's wrong with this team. Too many errors, letting everyone steal every base near every time. Our bullpen gets shelled on Saturday and Sunday, leaving too many runners on. I don't know how a team this talented could be so bad fundamentally. How many errors total did we have this weekend?
Not many, just like 3 maybe total. It wasn't. I didn't see any fundamental issues. I saw mental mistakes.
Let's see. Big Orange said, Vols are fine, boys. 2023 team finished with a regular season record 38-18. Still made Omaha. We're 39-12 right now.
We had 6 errors on the weekend. I think one of those is questionable. I would have said 5. There was one they credited that I didn't think should have been. I mean, like I said,
to Big Orange's point, he makes a good point here. They do currently have a better record than the 2023 team, but we do not have the starting pitching in particular, that the 2023 team had.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big difference.
And I'm going to keep saying it. Nate Snead needs to be starting on Sunday. What happened when he came in relief? We had one disastrous pitch, ended up costing a run. If he throws that pitch in the second inning, you can overcome it. It's not a big deal. He throws that pitch in the 8th inning, it's a problem. He's got to start on Sundays. Like we can't keep using him out of the bullpen. It's not gonna be good.
Welcome, Bobby. Good to have you. He said the energy on Friday nights just isn't there on Saturdays and Sundays. I think that's one thing that you saw Andrew Fisher trying to create yesterday on his first home run in the game. He was trying to get that energy in the stadium.
Yeah.
Matt said he's very proud of our program for sure. It's his fault that he's disappointed. His expectations were unreasonably high. I don't think your expectations were unreasonably high. If your expectations were that this team should win a national championship, then I think they're spot on. I mean, look at the number 1 team in the country right now, LSU. Tennessee handed them a series in their own stadium. And at LSU. Won. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I don't think they're unreasonably high at all. I think that's a proper expectation for the team that they have on the field.
And it's a weird game. Like you have to understand it. The momentum of the game and the way the games are played can change it can stop and turn on a dime. You know, Missouri hasn't won a conference game all year, and then sweeps Texas A&M at Texas A&M this weekend.
Yep.
Like, what the heck? How is that even possible?
Yep,
but it happened.
Big Orange said all these freshmen we have now will all be studs. Well, for sure. Some of them already are. You can't win the title every year with so much roster turnover, but I think we'll be right back to kicking everyone's butt next year. I mean, yeah, man, like absolutely. And we can still do that this year. They still have literally everything in front of them to achieve.
Yeah.
Steve said nothing feels way off except holding runners, but they aren't picking up slack for each other in situational baseball. That will eventually happen. We're used to them doing it the last few years. Yeah. I mean, our philosophy on base runners, and I just don't get it. I really don't. I do. One thing I did like this weekend was when they ran a double steal and Cannon threw. It was yesterday, and Cannon threw to behind the lead runner. He threw to second instead of third, and we tagged the dude out. That was a heads up because he had a much better chance of getting that guy, even though it's a longer throw than he did the kid running to third. I can't remember his name. Alston, I think it was. I can't remember. But yeah, I agree, Steve. Let's see. Kevin, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, if we take the weekend next series at Arkansas, then yes, I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. Then yes, we do host a regional. If we don't, then no. And I agree with him on that. I think that's probably a pretty good analysis. Herb said Friday night energy isn't there Saturday or Sunday. Tony said, I played a little college ball and have never coached kids. And I've coached kids for many years. I've never seen a team so easy to steal bases on. That's on Frank. Agreed. Also, throwing over to the base does not do anything except throwing the ball away.
Well, I mean, for the right-handers, it's the only way they can keep people honest. If you don't have a slide step, and especially the taller you are, the harder the slide step is. If you don't have a slide step, you've got to keep them honest with just, show me picks.
Yeah, that was one thing yesterday, that Tegan Coons threw the ball away on one. he's not going to pick that dude off. Like, he's just not. You just got to keep him close, keep him honest. And so you don't have to make your best move and throw it over there because you're not going to get him. Just take your time, make a solid throw, And instead he rushed it and threw it away. Actually hit it, threw it off the dude, and it bounced down the right field line.
I'd be curious what their pick sequence is. Like, is the catcher dropping a mitt to tell the pitcher when to throw? Is it just on the pitcher to do it whenever they feel like? Does Andrew Fisher have the authority to call for it? I would be curious to know what their terminology is and how they view when to pick.
Tony said yesterday that Liam is a freaking warrior and that Saturday pitching has to be much better. Tony agrees with Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin said, did we not beat Bama this year?
Yeah.
And apparently I was wrong. I
won
misremembered that. So we lost the opening game. I guess that's why I was thinking we didn't win the series, because typically if Liam gets beat, we don't win.
Yeah.
But so that series, we lost the first game 6-5. We won game 2 10-7, and we won game 3 9-2. So we did beat Alabama at Alabama 2 out of 3 this year. So that's my fault.
And we're tied in the conference, so we get head-to-head. We're ahead of them.
Jonathan said, I think we'll host a regional unless we get swept this weekend, but I don't think we will host a super regional unless we sweep Arkansas and run roll them. Yeah, we're not hosting a super regional, unfortunately. We're just too far. I mean, you got to be top 8 seeds to host a super, where we ain't going to make up that much ground. Unless we just, sweep Arkansas and then run the table in the SEC tournament. That'd be the only possible chance of it happening. Let's see here. Big Orange said, I just hope to see no SEC teams in the regionals or super regionals. That is almost an impossibility because 8 of the top 10 teams, I think right now, or no, that was softball. 8 of the top 10 teams in softball are from the SEC. In baseball, I'd have to pull it back up, but I'm sure it's probably a 6 or 7.
6 of the top 10.
Yeah. So statistically speaking, 6 of the 8, supers are probably going to be held at an SEC park. And so we're going to see an SEC team in there. If we end up being the 16th seed and LSU ends up being the 1 seed, it's going to be at LSU. That's going to be our super regional. Let's see here.
There's a possibility if we ended up as number 13 overall, probably number 14 actually. So if we end up number 14 overall, then we'd probably be paired up against Texas. If somehow we can sneak up to number 13, we'd be paired up against North Carolina. And that is the most overrated team in America. I would have no issues going to North Carolina for a super. They're nowhere near the number 4 ranking.
For us to jump that high, that'd be 4 spots. For us to jump that high, we gotta win the series at Arkansas, and we gotta make a little bit of noise in Hoover in the SEC tournament.
I would say win the series at Arkansas. I'm telling you, they don't care about the conference tournament, and they really don't care about it now that it's single elimination. They're not even going to watch it.
That is a big difference than it has. So last year, in the previous years, the SEC baseball tournament format was like the dumbest thing in the world. It was just terrible. This year, at least they made some strides in the right direction. They made it single elimination. But it's not this crazy double elimination, then single elimination, then, it was bizarre world last year. Let's see.
Baseball's a series sport. It's not a single elimination sport. And so the committee's not going to pay any attention. The only thing they're going to be watching for at the conference tournament is to make sure somebody doesn't sneak up and win a bid that they weren't expecting. That's the only thing they're going to be watching. They will not base any decisions on the conference tournament. It's not legitimate.
So Jared had the same idea I did. Welcome, Jared. Good to have you, buddy. He said, do you think the NCAA might look at fan base when doing the seedings? Yes, I 100% think they will. The NCAA wants money. They want money. And I guarantee you, it's just like, all right, we're in Tennessee. So the TSSAA during tournament time at the end of the season, postseason, Jared knows this too. Jared was a coach here in town for a while. In postseason time, TSSAA gets a cut of every ticket sale for, the district tournaments, region tournaments, the state tournament. I would be shocked if it wasn't the exact same way with the NCAA, and that they get a percentage, a cut from all these regional tournaments and super regional ticket sales. So they want to put them in the biggest places that hold the most people and get the most money. And Tennessee is now one of those places. And so that is one thing that is in favor of Tennessee. So I agree with Jared there. Elijah said, give us Southern Miss again.
If we get a regional, we won't have Southern Miss. We'll either have the 2 seed will either be West Virginia or UCLA. Although I could easily see them bumping UCLA down quite a bit because of their ridiculous schedule. So I would say if we host, it'll be West Virginia will be the 2 seed.
Let's see here. Rhonda said, where is Florida State? They are currently ranked number 2 in the country. So, nope. That's where we're going to be. Okay. All right. So that solves it. If we host a regional, we're going to be the 15 seed. That's where we're going to be, so that the NCAA can get their Florida State Tennessee rematch in the super regional.
And that's possible, because if we leapfrog UCLA and West Virginia, we would be 15.
So that's where we're going to end up. That just solved it right there. Good job, Rhonda. Good job. You solved it. We all know it's about storylines when it comes to tournament seeding. We all know that. We've seen it multiple times in the NCAA basketball tournament for the men's team the last 2 years. That's what's going to happen. So I'm changing my thing.
Yeah.
We are going to host a regional. We're going to be the 15 seed, and they're going to hope that we go play at Florida State. That's what's going to happen.
And in that scenario, Elijah's scenario comes true also. Southern Miss probably is the 2 seed at our regional.
Then definitely that's what's happening, because that's 2 storylines that they can put in there back to back. Yep. Okay, so now we know. We know. You put it on your calendars right now. We've solved the equation. We will host a regional. We'll be the 15 seed, and we will go to Florida State if we win that regional. And Southern Miss will be in our regional. That's what's going to happen. And Evansville might be the 4 seed in our regional. The team that we played in the super regional. Purple Aces. Hey, man, bring back, what was his name? Ace Purple? Or what was the mascot's name?
Yep. Ace Purple.
Ace Purple, the Purple Ace. Super creative, by the way, on the naming department there. So I'm sure they'll be in there too. What if that all happens and we just predicted it? I'm saving this for the next 4 weeks until we know for sure, or it'll be 2.5 weeks from now, but I'm saving this for then. Let's see. Big Orange said, we're going to have another team almost just like 2014 next year. It'll be the year after. Yeah, man, absolutely. Totally agree. As long as Tony's here, the recruiting is going to be just fine, for sure. Let's see. Elijah said, agreed. Just hoping we don't lose any assistants for bigger head coaching jobs. Wait, what? Okay, I was about to say. Will said, off topic, but breaking. Welcome, Will. Good to have you, man. He said, Michael Jordan come back to the NBA. He said he's going to average 30 at age 62. Just kidding. He's coming back as a special contributor for NBC Sports for NBA games. That's cool. Rhonda said, oh, Ruston, you're thinking logically and common sense. Who decides this?
So
That's a good point.
baseball and softball, weirdly, are the only two sports where the NCAA actually does this the right way. The baseball committee is comprised of sitting athletic directors and former baseball coaches. So all the people in the room and the ADs they choose are ADs who have baseball backgrounds. So like the chair this year is North Carolina's AD, Bubba Cunningham. So everybody involved has a baseball background. And this is one of the few committees that actually uses common sense and logic. Same for softball.
Jonathan just made a good point about the softball team. We're about to talk about the softball team here in just a minute. Herb said, I think Keelan's hamstring injury killed us. Hopefully he gets back to early season performance. This is a good point. So this is interesting. That injury was the turning point in the season.
Yep.
Because they were ranked number 1. Everything was going their way. And then all of a sudden stuff changed. And it all started when that happened. So I don't know what happened there, but you're right, man. That's a good point. That's a good marker in the middle of the season where stuff changed. Big Orange said, I just hope LSU or Texas doesn't win the College World Series. Carl, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. Carl's a channel member. He's with us here. Let's see. Arf said, is our team shifting against our lefties? Is that getting in our hitters' heads?
Nah, they've seen it all year. And they don't just do it against the lefties. They do it against the righties, too.
Dalton had a good idea yesterday. They were doing a very unusual shift against Dalton. Not only, a lot of times you'll just shift the infield over. They didn't do that. They brought the third baseman over to play essentially second base. And the second baseman was short right field, basically. And so from the shortstop position all the way to the third baseline, there was nobody. And Dalton tried to lay down a bunt and push it down the line, and he just barely missed it. But that's what you got to do in that situation. Let's see. Carl said, frustrated but can't replicate the earlier teams they fought to prove they belong. We've arrived. No longer the hunter, now the hunted. Different mindset.
Yep.
Bingo. Totally agree. Nolan, welcome, buddy. Here's the channel member. He said, hey, guys, late to the show, but I'm here. We appreciate you, buddy. Let's see. Josh, welcome. Good to have you. He said, at this point, do we want to be on the road for regionals? If you get the 15 or 16 seed, you go to LSU, Texas, Georgia, or Arkansas for a super.
We should have won at LSU. We should have won that series. We gave that one away. Honestly, I'm not overly impressed with Texas. They have not been playing well recently. Georgia's not in the equation. Georgia's going to be traveling for
Georgia's currently the 9 seed, I believe, or maybe 10.
10. They're currently 10th. Georgia's going to be traveling for supers also.
Let's see. Josh said, I'd like the 2 seed in, say, Coastal Carolinas region and then play a super against a UNC or Florida State. Well, Ruston and I have already cracked the code. We're going to be the 15 seed. We're going to host so that we can then go to the 2 seed Florida State, and Southern Miss will be the 2 seed in our regional. All the storylines, and Evansville Purple Aces will be in there somewhere. They'll be in one of those spots. I like Big Orange's opinion here. He said, man, how awesome would that be to get sent to Baton Rouge and for the super regional and beat them to go to Omaha? Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Josh said, give me Florida State over going to any SEC team for a super regional. Yeah, totally agree. Let's see. He said, no team in the ACC scares me. The pitching in the ACC this year is way below SEC pitching. Our offense will go off and give us confidence. Tony said, our record against top 25 can't be that good either.
11-8.
Like he said, the Riverboat Gambler, Purple Aces. That's exactly right. Rhonda, I hope you had a good time Saturday. I know they didn't win, but I hope you had a good time at the game Saturday. I just remembered that you were there. Let's see. Josh said, am I weird for thinking we're going to have a weekend where it all comes together? No better weekend than that, Arkansas. Let's go.
I don't think so at all. We're swinging the bat well. if we can figure out a few small things with the pitching staff, we're in a good position. We just got to find holes.
Well, I mean, look at the first half of this season. They put it all together every single time they stepped on the field. So absolutely we can.
Again, we left 22 people on base this weekend while also getting 30 hits. Okay. It's not like we were struggling at the plate. We had 30 hits in 3 games. You average 10 hits a game, you should be 3-0. So,
for sure.
And multiple times innings ended on absolute missiles at people. So, we're right there. We're going to find holes and it's going to be okay.
Josh said, I love Tony, but pulling Coons after 3 2/3 and only 48 pitches, when he was rolling was not the right call.
They've been very delicate with him all year long. Around 50 is when they've pulled him. So I don't know if he's had some kind of issue that they're trying not to re-aggravate. But all year long, they've yanked him around pitch 50.
Josh agreed with you that, eventually these balls that we're just drilling are starting to find holes pretty soon. Tony said, I sure don't want to go back to LSU for a super regional. That last series won't mean anything at that point. It will certainly be a different atmosphere in the box at LSU for a super regional with a chance to go to Omaha. I mean, no doubt that would be a different atmosphere. Rhonda said, yes, I did. She had a good time on Saturday. Good. I'm glad. Thank you. My daughter was overjoyed too. Man, I'm thrilled, Rhonda. That's awesome. I'm glad you got to do that. Carl said we were 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Yep. Definitely not a recipe for success. But I will say, I mean, just look at the last 2 innings of the game. I mean, I think it's the bottom of the 8th, we hit 2 balls to the warning track.
The hardest hit ball the whole weekend was Cannon Peebles' line drive right at the left fielder that off the bat looked like it was gone. Yeah. There's nothing you can do about that. He physically couldn't hit that ball any harder.
Yeah. Josh said, I love our ballpark, but how many of Vandy's home runs are out in any other park? All their homers, but one barely got over. The one in the top of the 9th that was opposite field, that landed in the second level of the porch. That was a shot. That was a shot. Let's see. I'm caught up on the comments, so that's good. Let's talk about, I'm going to share the screen here. We're going to talk about the Lady Vols path to the Women's College World Series. So this is the bottom half of the bracket in the women's playoff right now. You'll notice in the Knoxville Regional, it is us, Ohio State as a 2 seed, North Carolina as a 3 seed, and Maryland Miami of Ohio as the 4 seed. That is not an easy regional. We are going to have our hands full because apparently Ohio State is like one of the highest scoring teams in the country.
They are.
This is not going to be an easy regional.
Ohio State is one of the highest scoring teams in the country. North Carolina is solid. They have a good squad. And actually, Miami of Ohio is a lot better than their seeding. A lot of people thought they should have been a 3 somewhere else. So this actually might be the toughest regional.
And it's interesting when you look at the opposite regional, if by some chance we make it out of our regional, we will then host LSU in the super regional. Now, LSU is one team that we did not face in the regular season in softball this year. But there are 2 other teams in that other regional that we did face. Our very first game of the season was against Nebraska, and we lost to Nebraska. I believe it was 7-1. I can check that real quick and let you know 7-1. That was the very first game of the season. And then we hosted UConn in a weekend series in mid-March, and we swept UConn in that series. So we are 3-1 on the season against teams in the opposite regional. So if we beat the teams in our regional to advance, that super regional is going to be very interesting because the number 1 and number 2 seed in that regional are both excellent teams. But then you think, but does that matter? Because the Lady Vols can beat whoever they're playing. And you'd be exactly correct. Because if we win the super regional, I invite you to look one step ahead for the first round of the Women's College World Series. We would play the winner of these 2 regionals. So probably either Alabama or Oklahoma. So as the 7 seed, Oklahoma as the 2 seed, if we advance to the Women's College World Series, we're probably playing Oklahoma round 1, game 1 of the Women's College World Series. What is it? 4-time defending national champions now?
Yeah.
And
and in order to get there, so I would say we're probably going to see, if we can survive that regional, we're probably going to see Nebraska, because Jordy Ball rises up in these situations. So, the reason Oklahoma is Oklahoma was Jordy Ball, who's now the ace at Nebraska, who went home for her senior year. So you've got a 3-time defending national champion pitcher on that Nebraska squad, who's also their leading hitter and probably the best player in the entire country. And then if you survive her, then you go face her former squad. So
yeah,
not an easy path.
Very accurate. But can the Lady Vols do it? They can, because we beat Oklahoma at Oklahoma this season in a series 2 out of 3. So they can do it. But they certainly do not have an easy path. That is for sure. Let's see here. Some of the comments that came through as we were talking there. Carl said, Vitello always says making pitching changes and works out makes me look smart. If it doesn't, makes me look stupid. Carl said, other teams are hitting more homers in our park than we are the last half of the season. Josh said, LSU plays small ball. That worries me with the Lady Vols defense. Errors seem to kill us every game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they certainly have as of late.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure we're going to see LSU. I think Jordy Ball has proven over the last 3 years that come postseason, she's almost unhittable. So I would fully expect we're going to see Nebraska, not LSU.
Vols Titans 8 said we have Miss 78. He's referring to Carlin Pickens. I feel she's going to dominate and gets enough support with the bats. Oh, she gets run support. That's the only problem we've had.
That's the only problem with throwing 78. If they square up a ball at all, it's gone.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So if you don't get run support, all it takes is one solid swing to end the game.
Rhonda said, I'd love to see our softball team go all the way, especially for Karen Weekly. Yeah, totally agree. Certainly agree with that. Sam said, hey, Sam, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, help me understand why we didn't put in a DH with our last out on the line.
So I thought about that when it was happening. And, first of all, Cannon Peebles is a switch hitter. He hits better from the right side than the left. He might be one of the hottest hitters on the team right now. And if
2 innings prior, he scorched a ball to left field.
Yeah. If they wanted to get the lefty off the mound, then they would have had to send a lefty to the plate. And the only one available was Reese Chapman, who's been in a slump. So I think they looked at it as, we'll take our chances with Cannon from the right side rather than whoever they might bring in as a right-handed pitcher against Reese from the left side.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, 2 innings before that, Cannon had hit a laser to left field, just killed the ball. When, like I said, when he hit it, all 3 of us in the living room screamed. Actually scared my mom. Sorry about that, Mom, but we all 3 screamed really loud because we were like, "That's it. That's the game. Go ahead home run right there." Let's see. Josh said nothing's going to matter for the Lady Vols if they don't hit better and cut down the errors. Rhonda apologized. She said, man, that just took the air out of my tires looking at that bracket for the Lady Vols. Yeah, it is not an easy draw at all. At all. Let's see. Josh said, any worry Tony has shattered Chapman's confidence by benching him?
I'm
I
not
mean, I
sure
hope
Tony
not,
is
but I thought the
concerned
same
about
thing.
that. I don't think Tony's concerned about that. When you have the depth that they have, it's rise to the occasion or go somewhere else. I mean, that sounds harsh, but that's the reality of where they are. If you're not going to perform, you're not going to play.
Nolan said, I'm not afraid of any team if our bats can hold up. For softball, 100%, because our pitching is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Carl said they used to get Blake Burke and Semo in 23 to swing at pitches low and out of the zone. 24, better plate discipline. They both crushed it in 24. Rhonda said she's going to the game, the Vandy bus right by us. I thought, man, that's like a black cat crossing in front of my car. Bad luck. That's pretty good. Like said, Newstrom is a heck of a player. He is. It'll be exciting to see him. Josh had said I really like Newstrom's at bats this weekend. Every at bat was like a 7-8 pitch at bat.
Yeah, he's scrappy. I'm fascinated to see what he looks like next year when he's had a solid year in Coach Eberhard's strength program. That kid is a physical specimen. So when he gets a full year in a strength program, he's probably going to be chiseled.
Josh said Tony's comments about Phillips are very interesting. Could we see AJ Russell take the starting spot and move Phillips to a long relief role and keep Coons on Sunday? I'll let Russell answer too. I'm going to say no because they just aren't letting AJ throw the ball much.
Yeah. I would honestly rather see Liam Doyle at this point. I would rather see Liam Doyle on Friday. Nate Snead on Saturday, and then Dylan Loy on Sunday.
Yeah, I just don't know why. I know they're trying to protect AJ Russell's arm. I know that. But if he can't throw it, don't let him throw it. If he can, put him out there and let him ride, But they are just, he is 100% very much on a very limited pitch count every time he goes out there. Like he said, Rhonda is now super duperstitious. Let's see here. Go ahead, Rustin.
I would even be okay at this point. Michael Sharman's thrown some really good midweek games. I would almost be okay with an all lefty weekend rotation. Liam Doyle, Michael Sharman, and Dylan Loy. And, use the other power guys behind them. The only thing, I might do differently would be Nate Snead starting instead of Michael Sharman again, because when he gives up that big hit, which he always will because of the velocity he throws with, if it happens in the second inning, it doesn't hurt you. If it happens in the 8th or 9th inning, you lose. So, I think getting him closer to the front of the game is a huge positive.
Josh said he may start using Saturday as an opener. You can't keep rolling Phillips out there to start games and getting down 2 to 3 runs, and the other team only has 1 hit. Carl said Nate Snead throws hard but leaves fastball over the middle of the plate. Result, home run. That's what we saw yesterday.
The one thing I saw this weekend that was positive, his slider had a lot more bite than it did last weekend. So, last weekend he may have just had some issues, might have been a little injured. But he was definitely a lot more aggressive with the off speed this weekend.
Josh said, have y'all heard Tony call out a player like he did Phillips? I can't recall. I would agree. I have not heard that, and I was honestly kind of surprised by that.
I think he's done it in different ways. He's made some comments before about Trey Lipscomb. He's made a lot of comments about Drew Gilbert when he was here. About controlling
That's
himself.
True. That's a good point. Yeah, I'd forgotten that. That's a good point.
He used to call out Drew Gilbert every other week for stupidity. So I think he's had some moments like that, and he's a smart guy. he knows who the players are who can take that and who the ones who can't. So he's going to say those things to motivate the guys that he knows who will be motivated by it. He's not going to make that statement about a guy that's an emotional basket case.
Let's see here. Jonathan said they need to pitch Russell. His arm should be healthy by now.
It's not an issue of his arm being healthy. It's an issue of he's going to make millions, and they've got to make sure he makes millions. Like they can't push him past his limits.
Carl said too many fastballs over the center this weekend, and we missed or stared it down. Well, I think you can look at Cannon's last at bat and press support of that for sure. Josh said, we thought we let guys run last year and we only gave up 52. This year we have given up over 100 bases. Yikes. He said the steals aren't sustainable to winning ball games. Yeah, 100% agree. 100%. Yeah. I want to do our most recent new segment that we started, read the reviews. We got 2 more reviews on Apple Podcasts for me to read since we last went live. I need to have some fancy theme music at this point in the show that I can play. I'll figure that one out. I'll get some. But let's see here. So Mississippi Vol, appreciate you, buddy. Hopefully he's still watching. He left us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Says absolutely love it. Said the best podcast there is. I look forward to Sundays and Thursdays every week just because of Evan and Ruston. I appreciate that. That is awesome. That is so cool. Thank you so much, Mississippi Vol. I appreciate that. Another 5-star review from SB2125. They said, make it a listen. Great show. The content is great. Guys and guests are knowledgeable, and whether the Vols win or lose, you'll feel good after listening to these guys. Hey, I appreciate that very much. That is awesome. That is so cool. Hey, we love it. We love it if y'all would write a review on Apple Podcasts for us. I'll read it on the show, whether it's good or bad. I don't care. We'll read it. I would love for you to write one. That'd be so cool. You just search our show and then scroll down past the first few episodes, and then there's a review section at the bottom there. So I would really appreciate that. That'd be awesome. Some of the other comments that came through, Jonathan said you could use Russell as an opener on Saturday if you wanted to, if he isn't going to pitch many innings. Carl said Russell hasn't impressed me, even though we've waited for 12 years.
He's been weird, and it makes me wonder if he's favoring that elbow. Because one pitch he'll unleash it. It looks fluid, comes out of his hand, has a lot of late action, and it'll be 95, 96, 97. And then a couple of pitch later, he'll throw a flat fastball that is at 92, 93, and it looks uncomfortable coming out of his hand. So he's been a bit of an anomaly.
That was a good one, Carl. I like that. Nolan said, I honestly think our Sunday pitching is better than our Saturday pitching.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Josh said, I have good news, though. Arkansas doesn't run. Well, they're going to this weekend. We're going to see them running a little bit this weekend for sure. Carl said, I love y'all's mom. We do, too. She's a fun lady. Mississippi Vol said, still listening. He said, just enjoyed listening this week. I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you. Let's see. Mina Likey said, this is Mina Likey's review. Ruston can do balloons.
Okay, so I had not. So that was a good find on Arkansas's running numbers. I had not looked at that yet. So just to put it in perspective, this year Tennessee is 48 for 61 on stolen bases. Arkansas is 39 for 51. They have stolen 10 less bases than us.
And attempted sounds like less than
10 less.
Yeah.
They've stolen 10 less and attempted 10 less. They don't run at all.
Well, we'll see what happens this weekend. I hope they don't. That'd be great. Big Orange said, something tells me we'll take 2 out of 3 in Fayetteville. Hope so. He said this team is still very good. Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
That's in 52 games. They're attempting less than 1 stolen base a game. Attempting, not stealing, attempting.
Vols Titans 8 said the stealing bases against us isn't just Phillips. Doyle doesn't slide step, but is quicker in the stretch. Many others are slow. 90% steal rate is a major problem. For sure.
That's why I'd love
said,
to know, again, like I said earlier, I'd love to know what their terminology, what their thought process, like who's calling things. Is it I pick when Cannon Peoples drops his glove or taps a shin guard? Does Andrew Fisher have the authority to call it when he wants it? Is it just solely on the pitchers to change up their looks and keep people close? Everybody has a philosophy on that, and I would love to know who's in charge of making those decisions.
Josh said if we beat Arkansas in the series, that's 4 road series wins and 4 home series losses. So weird. Yeah, that would be weird. Josh said Arkansas has the lowest number of stolen bases in the SEC.
Definitely.
Carl said Carl is now head of the Dean Curley fan club. It's a little different tune than a couple weeks ago. He said after giving him crap, he was outstanding this weekend.
He was. Need to make sure his mom comes to more games.
Especially defensively. He played very well defensively.
Yep.
Well, last thing, we're confident Rick Barnes watches the show. And so I wanted to give him a shout out. He was recognized by the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame today as the winner of the Pat Summitt Lifetime Achievement Award. That is awesome. So congratulations to Rick Barnes. It said the award is presented to him in response to his remarkable impact on University of Tennessee's culture, character, and development. And I think that no one can argue that the man has a tremendous impact on the culture anywhere he goes and the character of any place he goes. So much deserved. Super happy for him. That is awesome. That is so cool. Congratulations, Coach Barnes. Some of the last comments coming in here. Carl said the book is out on us stealing. Stark is not behind the plate. Those picks at first are not here. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if they give Cannon a chance, Cannon can gun him down. Like, he's proven that. He threw out 2 yesterday.
Yeah, I think Cannon's actually got a really good arm. So the teams that are stealing on us are using the new technique called a jump lead. And when you've got guys out there bouncing around trying to read the pitcher's job is to make them stop bouncing, make them be flat-footed. And I could have called multiple stolen bases before they happened this weekend, especially with runners on second, just watching how guys were getting their bounces and where the jump leads were versus our pitchers' heads. Like, there were guys taking bounce jump leads 4, 5, 6 feet off the bag, 7 feet off the bag, and our pitchers were looking at home plate. Well, if you're not making those guys pause and be still, like they're taught, if I can keep jumping and bouncing, the minute his foot picks up, I'm gone because I've got all the momentum. If you make them stop and settle and be stationary, they won't run because they can't get that early momentum and they know they'll get thrown out. And if you watch the ones that Cannon threw out this weekend, they didn't get good jumps. They were stationary. So it's on, and that's why I say who's in charge of calling picks? Who's in charge of holding runners? Are the defensive players like Andrew Fisher and Gavin Keelan, do they have the authority to call for the ball when they want it? Are they calling that, or is it totally on pitchers? Because if it's on the pitchers, then that's 100% the pitcher's fault. Like you're taught, you have to make them be still. You can't let them bounce around and build momentum.
Well, because if they're bouncing, that's when you throw it. As soon as their feet start coming off the ground, you can't plant and dive back into the base if foot's not in the ground. And the Alston kid, I think y'all know I'm so good with names, but I think his last name was Alston for Vanderbilt. There was one time he literally almost ran off the base. I mean, he did. He ran off the base. Tegan Coons was pitching, and it was a few pitches later or a few throwovers later that Tegan hit him in the rear end, and the guy took off to second. But as soon as Tegan saw him come off the base that quickly, with no feet on the ground, that's when you throw it, because then you get him out. Like you can't turn and plant to come back into the base if you don't have a foot on the ground. So that's Rustin was talking about, is it Cannon Peoples tapping his shin guard? What's the signal? Well, that's when he should be tapping his shin guard, is when they've watched this guy one or two times getting a lead, and they know now. And if they pick right at that moment, they know his feet are about to come off the ground. He's left literally in midair, stranded, and then you got him out. So that's the timing things Rustin was talking about a minute ago. Let's see here. Josh said that he liked the lineup better this weekend. Keep Levi and Newstrom in the lineup. They take good at bats.
Yeah.
I mean, Rustin's been saying that all year long. Newstrom and Grimm are both they both hit the ball when you put them in there. So at what point do you just put them in there? And they finally did that yesterday.
Blake Grimmer had some really good at bats Sunday. I hope he stays in the lineup.
Big Orange said we might all be worrying about our baseball team this year, but we're still very blessed no matter what happens, no matter who wins the College World Series this year. A lot of good programs haven't even won one. Carl said, hey, those guys had some fight in them this weekend, so there is a change. Yeah, for sure. Vols Titans 8 said the problem is not Cannon. The bad throws is him trying to get out of faster than possible with the pitcher slow to the plate. Yep.
Correct.
Like he's celebrating Coach Barnes. Absolutely. Rhonda said, what do y'all think about Barnes' new hire, assistant coach from
yes.
Was it Texas or California? It used to be California.
Well, he was at Texas. Before that, he was he's been all over, but where he got his claim to fame was actually Wyoming. So I was shocked by this hire, but I absolutely love this hire. Because they're now able to have an extra assistant. They got an extra spot. So they hired Amaro Morgan to be basically the lead recruiter. So his sole job is going to be on the road and be recruiting, and he's very good at it. Steve McLean is an offensive genius, and I love this hire.
I was talking about Amaro Morgan.
Huh?
I was talking about Amaro. That's who I was talking about.
Yeah, Amaro Morgan is there solely to recruit. Steve McLean, again, got his claim to fame as the head coach at Wyoming. He is a zone offense genius who can pick apart anybody's zone defense. But he also runs really good stuff against man. And I love this hire because this tells me that Rick Barnes evaluated the season and went, we got to get some new stuff. We've got to find a way to get more effective on offense. We've got to run some different things. I'm going to go out and find an offensive mastermind and bring them in to add some wrinkles and help us be more effective. I used to, when I was coaching basketball, I used to go to the NABC clinics every year. And almost every year, Steve McLean was the zone offense speaker because nobody in the country did it better than him. And he made things so simple, but he could teach zone offense better than anybody I've ever heard. So for Rick Barnes to go out and say, we're going to go get us an offensive genius, I love that move. He doesn't have to recruit at all because of Amaro Morgan. He can just sit in his office and do X's and O's and teach kids how to run good offense. So I think this was a home run hire.
Jonathan said, did I miss it? Are y'all having a show Thursday? I know Rustin said last Thursday he'd be on an airplane when the show is supposed to start. So we are going to have a show. Rustin probably won't be there because he will be in mid-flight. But what we're going to do, I'll be live Thursday night at a regular time because the baseball team will be playing on ESPN2 at Arkansas starting at 8 o'clock p.m. So when we go live, it's probably going to be the start of the fourth inning. So I'll go live for a little bit. We'll watch the show together a little bit. We'll have some stuff to talk about. And then, we'll wrap it up and watch the end of the game as we all fall asleep. But so we'll go live for a little bit. I'll go live for a little bit Thursday night. So we will have a show. Josh said, I'm at the point where Inslee needs to lead off. He's smoking hot. Inslee, Fisher, Keelan, Curley, Bargo, Clark, Peebles, Newstrom. Marin, our best lineup in that order. That's pretty strong. Who would be the DH? I'm curious in that. I'm curious to see who he's got where.
Probably Newstrom. If Marin's in there, he would have to be at third, which pushes Bargo to left, or Bargo to right, Clark in left.
Volstein's 8 said it's a flawed philosophy. Analytics crap getting exposed by teams with speed. We're giving up a lot of bases, that's for sure. Big Orange said Arkansas, Texas A&M, Clemson, UNC, Wake Forest. You can go on and on down the list of teams that. Yeah. Let's see. Carl said also no Drew Gilberts that live for the moment like that last hit this weekend. Yeah. I'm sure Cannon. Listen, I'm sure when Cannon walked up to the plate, he was like, I got this. Because he just did a laser beam the last at bat.
There's nobody on that team that puts more pressure on themselves than Cannon Peoples. So that game, he will grow from that at bat.
Rhonda said Coach Barnes may be here longer than we originally thought. I hope so. That'd be great.
That's what I got from that hire, because Steve McLean is not a mercenary. Like, he ain't coming in for 1 year and then going somewhere else. When he goes places, he stays for a long time. He'd still be at Texas if Rodney Terry hadn't gotten fired.
Big Orange said, could y'all confirm that our team last year is a top 5 all-time team in college baseball history? I think statistically speaking, you would have to say yes, they are.
Yeah.
Let's see. Bobby said he agrees he likes a hire, going to develop these young players and offensive players.
And don't discount game planning. I mean, I'm telling you, I'll tell you a great Steve McLean story. I sat in a convention session once, and he was at Wyoming. And at that time, who was it? What school? I think it was BYU. BYU was in the same conference with them at that time. And the BYU coaching staff was in the session. And he was teaching zone offense, and he drew up. At that time, BYU was running a 1-3-1 half-court trap. He drew up their defense and then taught the entire room with their coaching staff sitting in the room how he destroyed their defense. And in the middle of the session, he stopped and turned and looked. Like, he told everybody that's what he was drawing. In the middle of the session, he stopped and turned and looked at him and went, and you all haven't stopped it yet, have you? And they nodded in agreement. Like, they were like, nope, hadn't stopped it. I was like, that is one of the greatest things I've ever witnessed.
Josh said he would have Levi Clark as DH and put Newstrom in right field. Carl said, when are you going to get Vitello and split screen with your mom? She would love that. She would love it. Absolutely. Of course, if Tony ever gets on the show, Ruston's going to be the one interviewing. He said that's his person he wants to interview. Let's see. Big Orange said, agreed, Josh. One of Vandy's teams that won the College World Series, 59 games for ULC teams. We're the only one to win 60. Jonathan said, is it a possibility that McLean was brought in to replace Barnes when Barnes decides to retire, hopefully in several years from now?
No, he's not much younger than Rick Barnes is. And I think if he were on here right now, he would tell you he's a much better offensive coordinator than head coach. When he was the head coach of Wyoming, he never touched the defense. He called everything on offense. He had an assistant coach who handled everything on defense. So even then, he didn't really function as a true head coach because he just let somebody else handle everything on defense.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. To the 292 people watching across all 3 platforms, we appreciate you very much. We hope you join us Thursday night. I'll be live at 9. We'll watch a little bit of Tennessee game at Arkansas. Liam Doyle will be pitching, so it'll be fun to watch that together just for a few minutes. And then you got to remember, though, if you want to have the 25% off discount code on our merch store, you got to join our channel by this Friday. at midnight Friday night, just like Cinderella, it disappears and everyone turns into a pumpkin. But we hope you all have a great week. I hope you join me Thursday night, and go Vols. Obviously, just a tremendously huge week for Tennessee, going to Arkansas. We got senior night tomorrow night. They host their last home game of the season tomorrow night against Belmont. So hopefully they end the season on a good note at home, and then they go in the season on a good note on the road. So senior night tomorrow night, be exciting to watch that.
2 out of 3 this weekend are on Real TV.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I meant to say that. Thank you. So Rustin's exactly right. Thursday, this is not a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. And so Thursday night is on ESPN2. Friday night is SEC Network Plus, so that'd be a Watch ESPN app. And then Saturday is back on SEC Network. So Thursday night, ESPN2. That'll be a good one. Some of the last few comments that came in there. Rhonda said, "This went by fast. Great show, bro." Say, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you. John said,
and weirdly, the first 2 games of the regional and Sherry Lee Parker on Friday are also both on Real TV. Wow. Truly bizarre weekend.
That's cool. Jonathan said, "Great show as always. Good night, everyone. Go Vols." Absolutely. Carl said, "Like button, only 7 likes." Hey, we appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, and text a buddy. You know, Danny White had great advice. Text a buddy about the Vol Bros. I'm sure that's what he actually had in mind when he took the position. Let's see here. Josh said, "I need predictions, boys. Do we turn the ship around and make Omaha? Give me something." I don't think we can predict it yet until we see the bracket. If we end up the 15 seed and we host a regional and then we get to go to Florida State, yeah, I'll say we make it. But it's tough to do that without seeing the bracket yet.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
It's all about matchups.
Yeah. Rhonda said, "Good night, everyone. Go Vols, baby." That's right. Rhonda's using those emojis. If you're on YouTube, you can see those channel badges. Those are awesome. We got a large group of people who are about to get the Summit Blue badge and move on from the Smoky Gray badge because they're almost a month into it. They're 28 days into it. So we got about 8 people who, in just a couple days, that Smoky Gray badge is going to turn into a Summit Blue badge. That'd be pretty cool. I will show that real quick because it's been a while since I've shown that. If you join our channel, this is the first member badge you get, a Smoky Gray badge. And then after a month, you get the Summit Blue badge. And then after 4 months, you get 2 months. It's 2 months. You get the orange badge. And then 6 month is dark mode. That's what I'm talking about. That's a cool looking one. And then a year is orange and blue. And then the biggie is 2 years. You get the checkerboard. That's pretty sweet right there. Kevin, hey, Kevin just joined. Awesome, buddy. Thank you so much. So Kevin just joined the channel. I appreciate that, Kevin. Let's see here. If my computer will go quickly for me, I'll tell you. So Kevin, we appreciate that very much. He's got the Smoky Gray badge now. Josh said the checkerboard is awesome. I really like that one. It's pretty cool. I also like the dark mode one. I think it's pretty cool too. Mina, like he said, she predicts that we get a Tony V interview. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. She said she loves that blue one too. Yeah, I like it too. So a bunch of folks are about to get the Summit Blue one because we got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 people who are at 25 days right now. So in like 5 or 6 more days, it's going to turn into the Summit Blue badge. Carl said, I should have my own badge. I was your first super chat. That's right, man. You should. How we got to figure out how to do that. We got to figure that one out. That's what I'm talking about. We got to beat the YouTube system and figure out how to give Carl his own badge. You deserve it, buddy. You deserve it. Carl said, we're going to make it to Omaha. That's his prediction. Josh said, I've been in Omaha 3 out of 4 years. I want to go back. Totally understand. Let's see. Matt's using his custom emojis. I love it. I love it when I get on like the comments on our videos and stuff and I see all our custom emojis on there. I love that. It's so cool. I love seeing it. And actually, now that we have another member, I get to put, I think, 2 more custom emojis on there. So we'll get 2 new ones, at least 1. It might be up to 2 now. So I'll take care of that tonight and tomorrow as well. Big Orange said, great show as always, Vol Bros. Good night, everyone. Go Vols. Hey, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Like said, great show. Hit that like button. I appreciate that. I think it's great advice, by the way. Carl, appreciate you, man. You the man. Thank you for joining us. Let's see here. Elijah, welcome. Hey, thank you, Elijah. I appreciate you, buddy. He said, night, bros. Good show as always. Nolan said the golf cart one is one of my favorites. Yeah, I love it. So what he's talking about, the custom emojis, so far all these are on there. And then we got the goat, home sweet home, and the golf cart on there right now. I love that checkerboard golf cart. I love it. So if I can upload 2, the next 2 will be the honorary sis and honorary bro custom emojis. So they'll be on there next. If I can only upload 1, I'll do the Vol Bros one, and then we'll wait and do the other 2 when we can. But eventually we got these 3. So that's Ruston as an emoji and me as an emoji. And then Sadie the unicorn from our cart cam with my daughter. So those are coming down the pike. Carl said, I don't know how to find emojis. So let me y'all let him know in the comments how you get the emojis on there. Because it won't let me do it because I'm the channel owner. So it won't let me, I can't use my own emojis on my comments. Let's see. Nolan said, great show, guys. Appreciate you, man. Josh said, we turn the tides this weekend. I hope so. I hope they win the series this weekend. Let's see here. Like he said, VIP badge for Carl. Yeah, I agree. We got to figure out how to do that. We'll teach YouTube how to do it. I think that's everybody. If y'all can tell Carl how to find those emojis, that'd be great. I would love to be able to tell you, but it won't let me because I can't use them on my own channel, which kind of stinks. I wish I could use them. Like you said, I've always heard the likes should be half or more the number of folks present. Hey, I think that'd be great. That'd be awesome. So far, right now we got 257 people watching on X and 31 people watching on YouTube. So that's pretty cool. 289 total across all 3 platforms. Elijah said, just click the little smiley next to the chat box and it'll all be there. That's what I'm talking about. Kevin just used the goat emoji. That's what I'm talking about. And if you like that goat emoji, we got a hat on the volbros.com/shop. And so you can use a 25% off discount code on that hat if you want to. Yeah. Carl said, Evan gave us toys and he can't even play with them. I'd love to, man. It'd be really cool. For Steve and Kevin, thank you all for joining our channel tonight. Tomorrow on YouTube, I will make a community post for members only, tagging you all in it with your discount code for the merch shop for 25% off. So thank you all so much for joining us. There it is, Carl. There it is, Carl. That's what I'm talking about. He's using them all now. That's what I'm talking about. He likes that golf cart. That's what I'm talking about. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Like you said, I'm seeing 1 like, and that was mine. We appreciate y'all, man. That's so cool. Elijah's using the goat emoji. That's cool. It's fun, man. I love seeing them on there. I absolutely love it. I think they look really cool. Well, we hope you all have a great week ahead of you. I hope you join me Thursday night as we watch the Vols take on Arkansas. Matt said, "Go Vols, baby." That's exactly right. He knows where I'm going. There's an emoji for that too. So we hope you all have a wonderful evening. Go Vols, baby. And we will see you all very, very soon.